You are waiting for the magic day. You are sitting there looking at your wet palms, thinking that they are the only thing standing between you and greatness. You have convinced yourself that only if your skin was bone dry, you would suddenly have the charisma of a god. You think the girls would flock to you, you think the money would flow, and finally you would step out of the shadows. Now, let's roll the bitch reality. You are so delusional. You know why? Because I lived that same lie for 20 years. I spent 2 decades in total isolation. I didn't have a social life, I had a prison cell, and I told myself every single day that once I'm dry, I will be a Chad. Once I'm dry, I will build that body, and once I'm dry, I will be the man. And finally, the day came. I got dry, bone dry, not a drop of sweat. I stepped into the real world and nothing changed. I was still single, I still had zero friends, and I was still the ballless ghost, but this time just without the sweat. Look, dryness did not give me a personality. Dryness did not give me balls. It just took away my favorite excuse and it slapped me with the reality that was more painful than the sweat ever was. I remember so clearly I would find myself in a social setting with bone dry hands, just like now, where I am supposed to lead, where I am supposed to speak, where I'm supposed to move, but my old programming would take over. I would end up behaving like a wet ghost. My spirit would flinch at the shadows that weren't even there anymore. That's when it hit me. I was 25 years old with a body of a man, but the software of a soft, feminine, terrified bitch. I finally discovered that the sweat was never the problem. The sweat was the shield I used to hide the fact that I had no balls, even though they were physically there. I realized that for 20 years I allowed myself to become a patient. And patients don't lead. Patients get taken care of. Patients wait for permission. That's why most of you are still waiting. You are waiting for a doctor, a pill, a miracle to give you your life back. I'm not here to give you permission. I'm here to give you the roadmap, the protocol, because in July, we stop being patients. If you are ready to stop hiding behind your skin and actually start leading, get on the list. The link is in the description. Join or continue as a ballless ghost. I don't mind. Because here's the truth you are too scared to admit. Hyperhidrosis is the best excuse you and I ever had. The only difference now between you and me is I have accepted it. But for you, it's your get out of jail free card for every failure in life. You look at that man with the perfect body and you say that I can't build that body because I sweat. You skip applying for the manager's role because you say I can't lead because I am terrified of getting judged for the wet palms. You look at that beautiful blonde with the perfect frame and you tell yourself, I can't approach her because I'm cursed. You are using your biology to avoid the arena. You would rather stay wet and invisible than get dry and actually have to compete with other men. Because in the world of men, no one gives a fuck about your condition. They only care what you provide. And I am one of those. By staying in your sufferer's identity, you have chosen to stay a child. You have chosen to let your parents grow old and tired because you are too wet to go out there and build the kingdom that would retire them. You are stealing their peace of mind to protect your own comfort zone. Now, I'm going to give you the gold, and most of you are going to hate me for that. The world tells you to have empathy. The world tells you to be kind to yourself. That empathy program is exactly why you are still a wet ghost. You know what? The first step of building the man I am today, the man you see here, isn't built upon self love, it's built upon self hatred. I had to learn to absolutely hate myself for what I had become. I had to look that soft feminine bitch in the mirror and criticize him until he died. I had to stop saying that I'm unlucky, I'm cursed, and start saying it's my fault that I am a pussy. I had to revisit every dark trauma of my life, every time I was humiliated, every time I stayed quiet, every time I hid my hands. I channel that negative energy. I didn't heal the trauma. I used it as a fuel. I used it to burn the fire inside me, a fire that hadn't seen a spark in 25 years. And I burned that ghost to the ground. I had to kill the bitch inside me that this soft world had encouraged. I didn't ask for permission. I didn't wait for a safe space. I chose to become a man because the alternative was slow, ballless, wet death. Now you tell me, if you have a broken leg, you would fix it, right? Now, if you have sweaty hands, why wouldn't you fix it? The solution is there. I have already told you how to fix the hardware. Then why the fuck don't you get it solved? Now, hear me loud and clear. Getting dry is only a one way ticket to the fight. If you get dry and you are still functioning on a wet software, then you are the fucking biggest loser I have ever seen. You have zero excuses left, especially if you follow me, if you are a part of my cult, then you understand that our only purpose to treat the sweat is to get into the arena. We treat the sweat so we can finally go out and start fighting the fucking world that has taken our decades of lives. We are here to make the world pay every penny, every girl, every ounce of respect it stole from us while we were suffering. I am racing the clock for my father. Every day I spend being comfortable is a day I'm failing the man who gave me life. I don't have time for management. I have only time for execution. My mission here is to wake up the wet ghosts who feel like pussies despite of having balls, to turn you into the Chad, into the provider, into the man you thought was impossible. But if you are still there, hanging on to your excuses and wondering why I am being so aggressive, then you haven't understood the fundamental truth. You still think that something is happening to you. You need to understand that this isn't biology, it's your own will. You need to understand why I say hyperhidrosis is a choice. Click here to learn more. I will see you right there.